Ladies and gentlemen, gather round for a tale that will make you laugh, cry, and cheer. A story that proves even in the darkest night, a single spark of kindness can ignite a sunrise. This is the complete story of Tanjiro Kamado. Ladies and gentlemen, to truly understand the hero Tanjiro Kamado, we must begin not in the heat of battle, but in the quiet, comforting cold of his mountain home. Imagine the scene, straight out of the most peaceful opening episode. The snow falls gently, blanketing the forest in a serene hush. The air is crisp and clean, carrying the faint, smoky scent of burning charcoal. This is Tanjiro's world, a world defined not by epic quests, but by simple, profound responsibilities. He is the eldest son, the man of the house after his father's passing, and his entire universe revolves around protecting and providing for his mother and his many younger siblings. His life is a masterpiece of slice-of-life anime. We see him, not with a sword, but with an axe, chopping wood. Not battling monsters, but patiently selling his charcoal in the nearby town, his kindness disarming even the grumpiest of villagers. He's the boy who stays to help a stranger secure their home before a storm, the big brother who carries his youngest sister on his back, making her laugh with a silly face. The Kamado household is a beacon of warmth and love. The soundtrack here isn't a dramatic orchestral score, it's the crackle of the hearth, the bubbling of a pot of stew, the harmonious chaos of a family living, loving, and supporting one another. This is the hearth. It is his foundation, the source of the immense empathy that will later become his greatest weapon. He carries the legacy of his father in a subtle way, through the mysterious Hinokami Kagura, a ritual dance performed to ward off illness and bring prosperity. For Tanjiro, it's a taxing, all-night duty he performs each new year, a connection to a father he loved and lost. He has no idea that these graceful, breath-controlled movements are the dormant seeds of a power that will one day challenge the very king of demons. To him, it's just family tradition. This humble, ordinary life is what makes Tanjiro so profoundly relatable. He isn't a chosen one from a prophecy, he's a good kid from the mountains. And that is why the tragedy that awaits him is so devastatingly effective. Because the shift from hearth to hellfire is not a gradual fade, it's a violent, brutal smash cut. The anime masterfully builds this transition. Tanjiro, warned of a demon lurking in the mountains, rushes home, a knot of fear tightening in his stomach. The familiar path becomes a tunnel of dread. The serene silence of the snow is now oppressive and eerie. And then, he arrives. The cozy cabin is no longer a place of warmth. The door slides open to reveal a scene of unimaginable horror. The warmth is gone, replaced by the metallic scent of blood. The laughter is gone, replaced by a silence more terrifying than any sound. His family, his entire reason for being, is gone. Slaughtered. In this moment, Tanjiro's world shatters. The animation captures his agony in every detail, the trembling of his hands, the wide-eyed disbelief, the gut-wrenching scream that tears from his soul. This is the hellfire. This is the inciting incident that brutally yanks him out of his simple life and hurls him into a nightmare. But the true twist, the moment that defines his entire journey, is the discovery of his sister, Nezuko. She is alive, but transformed. A demon, with fangs and slitted eyes, lunges at him. Yet, as she pins him down, something miraculous happens. She smells her brother. She sees his face, twisted in grief and love, not hatred. And a single tear rolls down her demonic face as she fights her new, monstrous instincts. This is the crucible that forges Tanjiro's destiny. A lesser story would have him swear vengeance, a path of rage. But Tanjiro's plea is not to a god of war, but to the demon slayer, Gyu Tomioka, who arrives on the scene. Please, don't kill my sister. She would never hurt anyone. His goal is not revenge, it is salvation. The hellfire consumes his home, but it cannot consume the love in his heart. His struggle, from this very moment, becomes a dual one. He must become strong enough to slay the demons that destroyed his family, while protecting the last remaining piece of that family, even though she is now one of them. He leaves the mountain not with a heart full of anger, but with a heart full of purpose, carrying his sister on his back, a brother and sister against the world, stepping from the ashes of their peaceful life into the terrifying, unknown darkness. Ladies and gentlemen, if the first chapter of Tanjiro's story was about his world being broken, the second is about how he refused to let his spirit break in response. We've seen the humble coal seller, we've witnessed the devastating tragedy. Now, we see the forging of a hero. And his greatest weapon, from the very beginning, isn't a legendary sword or a hidden genetic power, it's something far more fundamental and far more powerful, an unbreakable willpower fueled by a profound and relentless empathy. Think about the classic shonen hero blueprint. They often seek strength for glory, for revenge, or to become the strongest. Tanjiro's motivation is radically different. His drive is pure, selfless love. Every single drop of sweat, every aching muscle, every moment he pushes past his limits is dedicated to one goal: saving his sister, Nezuko. This isn't a vague ambition, it's a sacred promise. This focus makes his training arcs not just physical conditioning, but acts of devotion. When his master, Urokodaki, puts him through brutal trials on the mountain, running up impossibly steep slopes, surviving with a dull blade, Tanjiro doesn't complain. He thanks him. Why? Because every grueling step is a step closer to healing his family. This positive, grateful attitude in the face of pain is the first sign of his incredible mental fortitude. It's not blind optimism, it's a conscious choice to channel his grief into constructive action, a maturity that sets him apart. This willpower is then physically manifested through the art of breathing styles. Learning water breathing is more than just learning sword techniques, it's a total mastery of mind, body, and spirit. The animation brings this to life beautifully. We see Tanjiro's strikes visualized as flowing, powerful currents of water. But achieving that graceful flow requires unimaginable discipline. It's about controlled, rhythmic breathing even when your lungs are screaming for air, about perfect form even when your muscles are trembling with exhaustion. His willpower is the dam that holds back the river of his own pain and fatigue, allowing the technique to flow purely. We see this during the final selection exam, where he faces the hand demon, a creature that has killed many of Urokodaki's previous students. Terrified and outmatched, Tanjiro doesn't flee. He remembers his teacher's kindness, he feels the weight of the souls lost, and he digs deeper. He wins not through sheer power, but through a climactic, focused burst of will, executing a technique he hadn't even mastered yet because failure was simply not an option. But what truly defines Tanjiro's will, what makes it truly unbreakable, is how it's intertwined with his empathy. This is his most revolutionary trait. In a world where demon slayers are taught to see demons as monstrous enemies to be eradicated without a second thought, Tanjiro dares to see the human they once were. After defeating a demon, he often offers a moment of silence, a kind word, or a prayer for their tormented soul. He cries for them. He understands that they, too, were victims of Mugen's cruelty. This isn't a weakness, it's an immense psychological strength. It takes a powerful will to hold onto your compassion after witnessing the horrors demons have wrought. While others might become hardened and hateful, Tanjiro's heart remains open. This empathy becomes a strategic advantage, allowing him to understand his enemy's pain and regrets, which often reveals their weaknesses. This is tested to its absolute limit in his battle against the swamp demon, against the mother spider demon in Mount Nadagumo, and most profoundly, against Rui, Lower Moon 5. In that battle, Rui craves the unbreakable familial bond he sees between Tanjiro and Nezuko. When Rui's threads slice Tanjiro to the bone and threaten to behead him, it's not just rage that pushes him forward. It's the unwavering will to protect his sister, combined with the empathetic understanding that Rui's twisted desire for a family is a perversion of the very thing he and Nezuko represent. This fusion of resolve and compassion allows him to tap into a deeper power, the Hinokami Kagura, for the first time. His will is the flint, and his love is the spark. Time and again, when his body is broken and his sword is chipped, it is this indomitable spirit, this refusal to let his humanity be eroded, that becomes his true blade, cutting through despair and shining as a beacon for his allies in a perplexing, terrifying mystery to his foes. Ladies and gentlemen, if Tanjiro's willpower is the engine of his journey, then his bond with Nezuko is the sacred fuel that powers it. We cannot talk about his struggle without understanding that at its core, this is not a solo mission. It is a duet of devotion, a two-way street of protection that defies the very laws of their new, horrifying reality. This is the story of a brother and a sister, whose love becomes their greatest weapon and the most compelling mystery in a world of darkness. From the very first moment of Nezuko's transformation, their dynamic is rewritten in blood and tears. A typical narrative would have the human brother protecting his helpless demon sister, a one-sided guardianship. But Demon Slayer immediately subverts this. Yes, Tanjiro vows to save her, carrying her in a box on his back, shielding her from the sun and from other slayers. But Nezuko is far from a passive burden. In her first act as a demon, she fights her insatiable hunger to recognize her brother, establishing the central rule of their new lives, Nezuko will protect humans. This isn't a magical command, it's a conscious choice rooted in the core of who she was and who she still is. Her will is as strong as his, a silent promise made in return for his. This creates a symbiotic relationship that is both heartbreaking and incredibly powerful. Tanjiro fights with the strength of two. Every swing of his sword is for both their futures. When he is training until he collapses, he is doing it for her. When he faces down a terrifying demon, he is buying time for a cure. His struggle is external. The battles, the journeys, the quest for a way to reverse the curse. Nezuko's struggle, however, is almost entirely internal. It's a constant, silent war against her own biology. While she sleeps for days at a time to conserve energy, we can only imagine the battle raging within her mind, fighting the demonic instincts that scream for human blood. Her strength is in her restraint, a heroic effort that goes largely unseen but is felt in every moment she chooses to fight alongside her brother instead of against him. The anime masterfully visualizes this bond in battle, transforming it from a sentimental idea into a tangible, combat-effective force. Their first true synergy happens against the swamp demon. Tanjiro is outnumbered and overwhelmed, but the moment Nezuko bursts from her box, their movements are instinctively coordinated. It's not a practiced technique, it's a familial rhythm. He creates an opening, and she capitalizes with a devastating kick. He trusts her completely, and she responds with ferocious loyalty. This culminates in one of the most iconic moments of the entire series, the battle against Rui on Mount Natagumo. When Tanjiro is trapped and about to be beheaded by Rui's unbreakable threads, it is Nezuko who awakens her blood demon art, the exploding blood, to shield him. But the true power isn't the fire, it's the symbolism. Her power, a demonic ability, is used not for destruction, but for protection. It is the physical manifestation of her love literally burning away the threat to her brother. And in that same moment, when Tanjiro is pushed beyond his limits, about to be severed, it is the sight of Nezuko fighting for him that unlocks the next level of his own power, the Hinokami Kagura. Their bond is a feedback loop of immense power. His desire to protect her fuels his strength, and her desire to protect him awakens her abilities. They are two halves of a single heart. This bond constantly challenges the black and white worldview of the Demon Slayer core. To them, Nezuko is a monster. To Tanjiro, she is his reason for living. This conflict isn't just about physical survival, it's about proving that their love is stronger than a curse, that family is more powerful than fate. The box on Tanjiro's back is not a cage, it is a sanctuary, a moving testament to the fact that no matter how dark the night gets, they do not face it alone. Their struggle is shared, their victories are shared, and their hope is shared, making their story one of the most profound and moving tales of sibling love ever told in anime. Ladies and gentlemen, a shonen anime is only as gripping as its power system and the villains our hero must overcome. And in Demon Slayer, these elements are not just background details, they are breathtaking works of art and terrifying tests of spirit. Tanjiro's journey from a boy with a hatchet to a warrior who can stand against the forces of hell is painted in the vibrant hues of breathing techniques and the brutal, blood-soaked battles against the 12 Kizuki. Let's talk about the art of combat itself. The breathing styles are the series' most iconic visual signature. This isn't just about shouting an attack name, it's a form of high-concept martial artistry that translates inner focus into outer spectacle. For Tanjiro, it begins with water breathing. The animation doesn't just show him swinging a sword, it visualizes the very essence of his technique. With every slash, arcs of shimmering, translucent water flow from his blade. He moves with the fluidity of a rushing river, the adaptability of a crashing wave, and the relentless pressure of a waterfall. It's a style that suits his kind and determined nature, but it also represents a foundation he must master through grueling repetition. Each form, from the straightforward water surface slash to the powerful striking tide, is a tool he must perfect, and we feel every ounce of effort he puts into learning them. The animation makes the training feel tangible and the payoff utterly cathartic. But a foundation, no matter how strong, can only take you so far. This is where the villains come in, and the 12 Kizuki are a hierarchy of horror. They are not mere monsters, they are characters with twisted desires, tragic pasts, and blood demon arts that are as unique as they are deadly. Each encounter is a puzzle box of terror. The drum demon in the Suzumi mansion warps the very architecture, forcing Tanjiro to fight in a spinning, chaotic nightmare. The swamp demon moves through dimensions, attacking from unexpected angles. These early fights teach Tanjiro that brute force is useless against cunning and supernatural power. He must adapt, think on his feet, and push his water breathing to its absolute limit just to survive. The true escalation happens on Mount Nadagumo, a arc that feels like a descent into a living hell. Here, Tanjiro and his friends aren't fighting one demon, but an entire family of spider demons controlled by a member of the lower moons. This battle is a brutal gauntlet that pushes the entire group to the brink of death. The atmosphere is thick with dread, and the animation conveys the sheer, overwhelming power of a ranked Kizuki. It's here that Tanjiro's inherited legacy, the Hinokami Kagura or sun breathing, first ignites. When water breathing fails, when his body is broken, this ancient, powerful style awakens. The visual shift is stunning. The cool, blue water is replaced by the fiery, vibrant orange and red of the sun. It's a raw, untamed power that is far more demanding but also exponentially more powerful, a direct link to his family's past that he must now master to have any hope for the future. The battles only grow more intense and psychologically devastating from there. The fight against the sadistic lower moon 5, Rui, is not just a test of strength but a clash of ideologies about what family truly means. The Entertainment District arc pits him against Upper Moon 6, Gyutaro and Daki, a symbiotic brother-sister duo that mirrors Tanjiro and Nezuko in the most twisted way, requiring an unprecedented level of synchronization with Tengen Uzui to win. Each Upper Moon is a catastrophe waiting to happen, with powers that defy comprehension, from Gyoko's pod-based teleportation to Hantengu's multiple emotional embodiments. These battles are spectacles of animation, yes, but they are also profound tests. They force Tanjiro to innovate, to work with his comrades, and to dig deeper into the sun breathing, inching closer to the original form. Every victory is hard-won, paid for in blood and trauma, each one a stepping stone on the inevitable, climactic collision with the source of all this misery, Mugen Kibutsuji himself. The struggle against the Kizuki is the crucible in which Tanjiro is forged, a relentless series of trials that transform a kind-hearted boy into the warrior who can finally bring the dawn.